So we're back from the lightning round. We got our email of the week here. Roger from Seattle. He wants to know why the new show format, Ash?
You're talking about the live, I guess, shows, the weekly stuff? Okay, so we talked, interesting question. So we talked, let's connect the dots here. We talked about HP's big strategic shift, not a pivot. I mean, we're talking radically blowing up the business and moving elsewhere. We talked about YouTube and Comscore. So let's talk about that. What YouTube has really done is it rewards both personalities and it rewards influence. I think WatchMojo gets an A+. We've nailed down our core programming, you know, evergreen, timeless classic profile of David Bowie, travel to Belize. But nobody wakes up in the morning and says, my God, I can't wait to go out there and watch WatchMojo's video on Nelson Mandela. You know, you've heard of gateway drugs? We're gateway content. You got a kid, 18, doing a research paper on, you know, Nelson Mandela or Bill Clinton. You'll stumble on one of our videos and it's like, oh my God, you guys have 8,000 videos on Lady Gaga and fashion and music, right? So we've nailed that down, but it was about balance. We needed to balance that polished, highly, you know, editorialized programming with, you know, what we're doing now. And the analogy I used when we launched this, I said, let's say we're VH1, our music content is more VH1. We're now going more towards, you know, MTV, where you actually have someone talking about his opinion on a song or whatnot. But let me just turn the tables here. When you start, a little bit of trivia here, you started with us back in 2006 as a host. Okay, you didn't do the, you know, the sort of timely, oh my God, I can't believe, you know, whatever George Bush is doing that. But you did a lot of like the sort of opinionated pieces where you talked about your thoughts on something.
Right.
And I mean, as a user, I think, not that kind of user, as a viewer, you will get drawn to that and you'll probably tune in, agree or disagree to hear what CT has to say. Whereas the kind of content that we really excelled at was, you know, again, the gateway. You stumble on our content and hopefully you get hooked.
Well, let
me ask this, I want to but also answer this. Marketers, this is a good question, right? Because we've had this soul searching going on. Do marketers want the polished thing that looks great, or do they want the more raw, personality-driven content?
I think it depends a lot on what you're trying to sell as a marketer. As a rule, you know, marketers, the more polished, the better. It's a safer bet. You know what you're spending your money on. In the same vein, we'll go back to the Old Spice guy we mentioned earlier. As polished and whatever as that was, what sold that was the personality cult. They changed the Old Spice guy, but only after the campaign was successful and they did what they wanted to do with it. So
and just to be fair, sales did go up. When that whole thing, they started to look at it, initially they were like, but sales didn't go up. But then other people dug in and said, wait a second, sales of Old Spice have gone up. So you got to give them credit. It got news, but it also got sales.
It also made Old Spice a relevant brand to a younger generation again, and I think that was their goal. But yeah, so yeah, I think you need a little bit of the personality cult. You need a little bit of edge and a little bit of opinionated-ness. If only because it makes the content seem a little bit more real and accessible. Otherwise, you're just watching an anonymous anchor talk about a location or talk about a product. It's not someone you can really identify with. It's not someone you can connect with and, you know, come back to over and over and over.
Yeah, I think for us it was ironic because you talk about Old Spice, traditional, it was edgy, progressive. For us it was both, frankly, like a return to our roots, but it was also a natural evolution in that, like, you know, when I started the company, the team was building the content, you know, really doing a lot, and I didn't have that much to do, to be honest with you, on the deal-making side because we were building the catalog, building the distribution. I had a lot of time, and to follow the market, I was blogging on our blog. And then I got to a point where I was so busy, I said, I can't blog on the HipMojo.com blog 5 posts a day, so I started to write for Media Post, TechCrunch, some plugs here, paid content, GigaOM and all that. And it was great. And it was like, people saying, my God, you blog a lot. But it was 1 blog a week, a lot more reach.
Now you're doing 5 a week instead of 5 a day.
Yeah, but what really happened was then some of those blogs were like, well, we're going to start doing video content. Do you want to do video content? And I was like, well, wait a second. We're a video company. Why would I not do the video, you know, vignettes on like the article level evolving into video for WatchMojo.com? So for us, it was a natural thing. But I did feel that it was time to go back to our roots because we finally had the distribution. We had the audience. We're doing a timely piece on the economy. Doing a timely piece on the HP or Comscore YouTube deal actually makes a bit of sense. That's been this week's show. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have any feedback or questions, email us at live@watchmojo.com, and we'll be back same time, same place next week.